Hello, this is Shankar, and today I want to give a perspective. I've been talking about astrology and how it affects personal life, issues of. Today I will discuss about a very important transit which is happening, and it is my view of this particular transit. And this is Saturn entering into Pisces and Rahu entering into from Pisces into Aquarius. Saturn is going into the Pisces sign and Rahu is coming to the Aquarius sign. Let us see only this particular thing. Now, what is Saturn and what is Rahu? Saturn moves from the sign of Aquarius into Pisces. Now, a sign of Aquarius is also a sign which causes a disruption, but it is a sign which is a very focused sign, which is a sign which is very clear. It walks. It knows what it's doing. It is walking. It is planning. It's a good sign. It's a good sign in terms of its sincerity, in terms of what it is doing, how it is moving. But when Saturn comes into the sign of Pisces and Rahu comes into the sign of Aquarius, there is a meeting of Saturn and Rahu. Let me only analyze this meeting of Saturn and Rahu. Now, Saturn in Pisces is a watery sign. A watery sign of Jupiter, and in the Kalpurush, it is the end. It is the end. So, first of all, my view is that this sign of Pisces, 2.5 years, and I'm talking about not individual. I'm talking about generally how it will affect the entire globe. The entire economy, the entire people in perspective. It goes into the sign, a watery sign, which shows that water will be very important. Now, whenever Saturn, and because Saturn and Rahu are meeting each other, let us understand that. When Saturn and Rahu are meeting each other, it is disruption. What is Rahu? Rahu, one has to understand, Rahu is all perception. Today, about 10-15% लोग होते हैं, 20% लोग होते हैं जिनके पास पैसा होता है. 80% of people are poor. I mean, middle class, upper middle class, trap, whatever you call it, people like me. But there are only 10-15% people who are very rich, the super rich. Now, what are they working on? उनका क्या वर्चस्व है? Their वर्चस्व is all about perception. जो आदमी करोड़पति होता है, अरबपति बनता है, वो आपको परसेप्शन में आदमी को डाल देता है. पहले we had television, so person was involved in television. Then we had internet, person was involved in internet. We had news, north, east, south, west. देखिए आप सब कहाँ क्या हो रहा है, उसमें आदमी को इन्वॉल्व कर दिया. उसके बाद इंटरनेट आ गया, उसके बाद सोशल मीडिया आ गया, and now artificial intelligence. Now what is happening is that this is Rahu. ये जो 5-10% लोग किस्मत लिखा के लाए हैं, whether they are spiritualists, whether they are astrologers, whether they are businessmen, the billionaires of that 5-10%, they are going to take the greatest advantage of Rahu. Rahu उनको बहुत advantage देगा, और वो ये advantage देगा क्योंकि it is moving Aquarius to Pisces, that they will be able to create a technological perception. एक टेक्नोलॉजी के थ्रू एक ऐसा धारा बनाएंगे जिससे कि जो आदमी जो होगा वो अपने में व्यस्त नहीं रहेगा. वो व्यस्त रहेगा मीडिया में, रील बनाने में, इंटरनेट में, दूसरों के बारे में जानने में, पिक्चर के बारे में देखने में. टुडे व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन सोशल मीडिया, आप एक देखते आदमी आया, उसने 2 लोगों ने उसको झापड़ मार दिया, एंड यू आर वेरी हैप्पी नॉट नोइंग दैट ऑल 3 people आर द सेम. आई मीन, पीपल आर हैप्पी विद दोज काइंड्स ऑफ थिंग्स. आदमी का जो पूरा ध्यान है is on this. So this is going to be the world of illusion. It is going to be a world of perception, जहां पर आदमी अपने बारे में कम सोचेगा, but will be driven by other things. आजकल आदमी गिर जाए, person will not go to pick him up, but if its computer falls down और मोबाइल गिर जाएगा तो वो एकदम से 10 आदमी उसको मदद करने आ जाएंगे कंप्यूटर और मोबाइल को उतारने का. सो इट इज अ वर्ल्ड वेयर अ पर्सन इज, राहु जो होगा वो एक छाया है, एक माया जाल, एक इल्यूजन है, बट एन इंटेलिजेंट पर्सन, एंड इट ऑल्सो रिप्रेजेंट्स दोज पीपल जो कि अलग सोच सकते हैं. तो आप देखिएगा जितने भी अरबपति होते हैं, खरबपति होते हैं, बड़े, हम लोग कहते हैं वो एक ही कपड़ा पहन के घूमते हैं, मार्क जुकरबर्ग का एक ही टी शर्ट है, वो आदमी बड़ा सिंपल है, वो आदमी ऐसा है। दिस इज, दे क्रिएट द परसेप्शन हम तो ऐसे ही हैं, बट व्हाट दे आर सेलिंग टू यू इज 1 लाख का पैंट पहन लो, 25,000 की जीन्स पहन लो, ये कर लो, वो कर लो, मॉल में जाओ, सोशल मीडिया देखो, पिक्चर देखो, उसमें लव देखो, सेक्स देखो, लड़ाई करो। हमारी जिंदगी जो है खुद की जिंदगी नहीं है अब, इट इज सराउंडेड बाय ऑल दीज थिंग्स। खाना भी है, अब जंक फूड खाओ, बाहर का खाओ। सो हु इज बिकमिंग रिच? अमीर कौन बन रहा है? इट इज दैट 5-10%, एंड दिस दैट 5-10% जो बहुत होते हैं, राहु को लोग राक्षस कहते हैं, तो वो राक्षस नहीं है आज की तारीख में। दे आर द पीपल हु आर द सिटिंग एट द टॉप। सो इट इज गोइंग टू बी अ प्लेस व्हेन राहु इज एंटरिंग, राहु इज बाहर निकल रहा है, सैटर्न अंदर जा रहा है। मतलब जो नीचे के मासेस हैं, दे विल बी द मोस्ट अफेक्टेड। जो लोग काम कर रहे हैं, जो कि मासेस हैं, दे विल बी अफेक्टेड। एंड राहु विल बी अ टेक्नोलॉजी रेवोल्यूशन, जो टेक्नोलॉजी के रेवोल्यूशन के कारण तरह की चीजों से इन मासेस पे कंट्रोल करेगा। दैट इज वन थिंग विच आई एम वेरी श्योर विल हैपन। सो वन थिंग दिस थिंग विल डू इज रेवोल्यूशन ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी एंड एडवांटेज ऑफ मासेस। जो अमीर है वो और ज्यादा अमीर बनेंगे, और जो मासेस है वो एक्सप्लॉइट होंगे, क्योंकि सैटर्न व्हेन इट एंटर्स इनटू पीसेस, जो सैटर्न मासेस को बताता है, तो पीसेस में होता है आदमी को। सैटर्न इज नॉट यूज्ड टू बी इन एन इमोशनल काइंड ऑफ थिंग। सैटर्न को कोई ये पसंद नहीं कि वो इमोशंस में बह जाए या उसमें। सैटर्न तो काम करने वाला आदमी है, उसको स्ट्रक्चर पता है, ऑर्डर अच्छा लगता है, डिसिप्लिन अच्छा लगता है। तो शुरू में जो घुसेगा तो इट विल नॉट इवन अंडरस्टैंड कि मेरे को क्या हो रहा है, ये मैं कहाँ आ गया हूँ, किस एनर्जी लेवल पे आ गया हूँ। और राहु जो होगा वो अपना वहां से निकल के उसके अगले घर में जा रहा होगा, क्रॉस करेगा उसको। तो इट विल फर्स्ट अफेक्ट सैटर्न। द फर्स्ट इफेक्ट विल बी, आई फील, रेवोल्यूशन इन टेक्नोलॉजी। पैसे वाले और पैसे बनेंगे, दुनिया परसेप्शन पे चलेगी, जो दिखेगा वो असलियत नहीं होगा। सो दिस इज गोइंग टू हैपन विद द मासेस पीपल। और सेकंड थिंग which will happen is कि Saturn is going to be in Pisces, which is sign of water. And water is not only the ocean, rivers, seas, but water is, also climate. The changes in climate will be very important. There will be climatic condition changes, जिससे you could have tsunami, you could have floods, issues around water. मतलब पानी से लेकर आपदा जो होती है, संकट जो होते हैं, प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, दैट विल अराइज बिकॉज सैटर्न इज गोइंग इनटू द साइन ऑफ पीसेस। दैट इज गोइंग टू बी अ प्रॉब्लम देयर। नाउ ऑल्सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज व्हेन सैटर्न इज गोइंग टू पीसेस, आई व्यू, and because of the Saturn Rahu conjunction, and then slowly in 30th March you have the conjunction of Venus, you have the conjunction of Sun, Moon, and Sun and Moon also there. Virtually 6 planets are going to get conjoined in the sign of Pisces. Obviously Mercury will be there. So when this is going to happen, and Saturn की जो next planet होगा वो Venus होगा. It is sitting in its house of exaltation but retrograde. Venus and Saturn, when they come together, they become big planners. Now, Venus in a watery sign, and in retrogression or coming out of retrogression and becoming direct, it is not a good thing. Venus, you will say, is exalted, and Saturn enters there. So what happens is Saturn and Venus combination will lead to diplomacy, which will look very good. People will be diplomatic, लोग बात करेंगे, countries will talk to each other. But जो पीछे होगा उसके, that will be something which will be negative. That will not, because at the end of the day, Sun and Moon are also there. So, the king is not behaving like a king should be. जैसे हम किताब में पढ़ते हैं, the queen is not behaving the way a queen should behave. They are afflicted by both Saturn and Venus. Here Saturn and Venus will combine together. So what will happen is diplomacy लगेगी बहुत अच्छी, but that diplomacy will not be right. पीछे उसका जो षड्यंत्र होंगे और whatever is at the back of it will not be good. उसके seeds जो हैं, this is an end of a cycle and starting of a cycle मेरे हिसाब से. When you look at countries, you have to look at 4, 5, 10 years horizon. तो ये जो 2025 to 26 का year होगा, it will बीज बोएगा, it will sow the seeds of something drastically going to happen with interrelationship between countries. लगेगा शुरू में अच्छा लगेगा, पहले अच्छा तो होगा नहीं, it may look good, but ultimately it is going to grow the seeds of a kind of a change in the next, when Saturn reaches Taurus, from here it will go to Aries. 5-6 साल में I will say that it will lead to a lot of tension between various countries. It will make blocks, because जब भी Mercury बीच में आएगा, Mercury divides. So it will divide countries, make countries into blocks, and there will be animosity, acrimony between the countries. Whether it will be a war, whether it will be an information war, whether it will be a war on the seas, but some kind of, a kind of a situation which is fluid, a situation which will be negative for the world, is that trend. Astrology definitely tells trends. So that trend will start. I'm not saying the next 2 years of war will start. As you know, astrologers in our YouTube or others, I keep on sometimes listen. I mean, they say, oh, दुनिया में लड़ाई हो जाएगी, तहस नहस हो जाएगा. I don't think that will happen. But yes, उसके seeds will start where animosity, negativity, blocks, country forming into blocks, the kings behaving in a negative way. This will certainly happen, and this will certainly happen besides those countries which are besides the ocean. जो ocean के बगल में, नदी के बगल में, उन countries के आसपास, those are the countries which I will not go into the details of naming the countries, because that will not be correct, and I'm not too much into this part of astrology where you can analyze waves and oceans. So countries which are near the oceans, which have got a coastal areas, they will be the countries who will be into conflict with each other. So what I see is एक ऐसा समय जहां लड़ाई के जो बीज है बो दिए जाएंगे, और 2.5-3 साल बाद, 5 साल बाद, which will aggregate in the next 2.5 years, and I feel after 5 years there will be a brimming point कि भाई अब पानी उबल गया है, as the water has started boiling, and something would happen, some kind of not a world war, but some kind of a war which could be, I would say, because peace is the last sign, so kind of information war would start happening. Now, third thing which this whole thing was, first is I told you about technology revolution. Second, I said perception will be very important. People will live on only perceptions. Third, I said people who are rich will become richer, because they are the people who have Rahu very strong, and they are the people who will create this mayajal. They will create perceptions for the middle class, lower class, for the masses, and embroil them into this perception. They will get embroiled in the perception, and when I say perception, it could be technology. It will be technology, because Saturn and Rahu is all about technology. So it will be technology which will एक common आदमी को इस मशीनों के बीच में मतलब घूमेगा वो, So that is bound to happen. Also, I feel the kings, the people who are at the helm of affairs, they will not have a clear agenda when they talk. The agenda when they talk will be something else, and the agenda at the back will be something else. Now, this is always there in diplomacy, but it will be at its peak. And the part which I want to emphasize is that इसका जो result जो होगा वो positive नहीं होगा. The result will be negative, because I see after 5-6 war a kind of war, a kind of आपस में लोगों की लड़ाई वड़ाई होना शुरू हो जाएगी, between countries, blocks will be made, power struggle will start. Now also because Saturn enters and it combines with Venus, and there you have Sun and Moon and other planets also there, this is going to affect the masses. Now, in a way, it will affect the masses. I say one is the technological revolution, people will become richer, but it will affect the masses in a way that there will be, unka jo standard of living, etc., is going to get reduced. It is not going to be a good time for jobs. I mean, there could be 10 people जिनके तनख्वाहें बहुत ज़्यादा होंगी और 90 लोगों तक नौकरियां नहीं मिलेंगी. So next 2.5 years and next 5 at least, I see there will be disruption. There will be her country, most of the country ki economies will fall down. There will be a kind of a recession which will be there, which is very clear, and there is a pattern which I have studied which happens in the world, and this pattern is not of 10 years or 20 years, it's a 100-year pattern. And if you see the last depression which had come, and before that and now, you would see a kind of recession coming in various parts of the world. And here I would like to add a caveat. I think India will be better off. India will also face the recession, but India economy will also has to struggle, but India may be better off as compared to other countries because of the dasha, etc. of India. But there will be a kind of recession which will be there in the world, which India will also get affected. Our people will also get affected. The majority of the people will get affected. So that recession in the world starts. The impact will come after a year. Even this year you will see the impact. But again, for our country, I feel, हम दूसरों से बेहतर होंगे, if that is a issue of solace which is there. So that is another thing which I see. I also see a lot of spending happening on medical, because whenever Saturn and Rahu together is there, it is bound to create not pandemics. It is not going to be a coronavirus going to spread, etc. But one particular disease where, when Saturn and Rahu are together, tumors, like let me, this may not be the right example, but like say cancer, a disease like cancer is going to increase multifold. If it is 5 patients today, it will be 25 tomorrow. Not that it will become a pandemic, but a disease like cancer, tumors, increase in the swellings, etc. will increase, and a lot of expense will also happen on the field of medical. Now, one more thing which I see from this particular whole thing which is going to happen in the next 2.5 years is there will also be people coming up. Like you had Hitler coming up, and you had Napoleon coming up, and you'll have leaders coming up with philosophy. There will be leaders who will be coming up with their own philosophy. So you can, on one side, you can say dharma will increase. There will be a group of people who would say that religion is important, we should go towards religion. The importance of religion will increase, and it is going to increase because it is the last sign of, it is the sign of Pisces, and whereas Saturn is there, you have Venus there, the Guru Chela there, Sun, Moon are there, and the other planets are also going to transit through them. So it will increase the entire ecosystem where people will become more religious. Also, they will become more religious because there will be more problems. So people will become religious because of that reason also. But the whole ecosystem in religion, I mean, there will be people who will propagate religion, or let me not use the word religion, but philosophies, theories, and there will be people who will make themselves as self-styled leaders for a particular philosophy. Now that philosophy could be anything. It could be, for a particular issue, for a particular objective, but they will give it a religious kind of a covering in it. A kind of a religion does not mean religion as we see it, but it will be in terms of, it will be made in, look into a way that, it is something which is important as a cult. There'll be cult leaders, if I would write word as I keep on speaking. Cult leaders would come into play, who will have different philosophies in religion, just as, we have so many, it does not mean that, the gods will go away, the religion will go away, but these kinds of people will start animating in the countries, who would, in one way, religion will become important, but in the other way, also, there will be people with different philosophies coming up and trying to create disruption, because in the name of cult, religion, issues, that is how society is made. I mean, religion has been made by the kings at one point of time to, to control people, to put the people on one side and rule them, make them busy. And that busyness today will not happen mainly because of religion, but will happen because of Rahu, that is perception, technology, social media, etc., which I've explained. But this is also which would happen, which I see will be there. So and there will be a lot of force on Mars-like activities. People would like to execute things fast. Countries would like to do things fast. India would be one of the countries also who would become, I see in 7 years, after 5-6 years after which I say that, there will be some dissemination, changes, structural changes. India would come out to be a very important power, I feel, because Dasha Mars is there, and Mars is all about execution. So India will have executive capabilities, and India will be better off as compared to various other countries. But generally, the world is going to go towards a situation of technological revolutions, two, perceptions important. People would, I'm sure artificial intelligence and satellites and machineries, guns, sophisticated rockets, sophisticated military equipment, etc. will be high. They will be made. There will be issues with respect to countries. Blocks would be made, and there will be conflict. These are the 4-5 things which will happen. It will not happen immediately. You would see, let's say by the end, if we evaluate it by May of next year, you would see that things have started brewing in that aspect. It will take a span of 5 to 7 years for it to, for the whole circle to get completed and drastic changes to happen. So that is what I feel, that what is going to happen as far as for everybody in the globe. Even for individuals, it is not going to be easy, because I said for masses it is going to be tough. They will have to work hard to earn money. There will be recession. They may have a lot of things of comforts, or a lot of things will come where they will be able to buy them. They have to, work harder, maybe exploited more, etc. will happen. Some kind of a recession and depression will happen. Unemployment will happen. And one more thing which I see is that Saturn will aspect Jupiter. And whenever Saturn aspects Jupiter till about May, June, you would also see the seed of the system of family, the virtuous things collapsing. Everybody today, we still in our country, and I think around the world, there will be a collapse of a kind of thing which is maintaining the family structure, which is maintaining the financial structure, which is maintaining the structure when you are in relationships, which is maintaining the structure of order that you have to respect the people, which is maintaining that you should spend money on charity. All these things are going to get, there is going to be a drastic change in all these aspects, and everything will be there, but it will be all with the color of my planet Rahu. That is, it will be for perception. It will be either perception, or it will be either business, or it will be either the change which is going to happen in the mindset because of technology. So even for people, my view, this would happen, and the seeds, again I repeat, will be sown now with this transit after March 30th, and the results would come only after 7-8 years. But yes, results means the final, kind of the equilibrium which will happen after 7-8 years. Could be a war, could be changes, could be a revolution, anything, will happen after 5 to 7 years. But the seeds will be born, and you can see the changes which will happen. There'll be a lot of critical analysis and discussions on this. Let us see what happens. This is my view. So my view is maintain structure, maintain order, maintain discipline, be what you are. I mean, that is more important. Today, it is important, which I would give as my own thing is, you should be happy with the things which you can deal with. You have a mind to think, you have something in your pocket, you have good things to do to your family. I mean, deal with things which you have and enjoy them. Rahu will make you work for things which you do not have, but you want to get. And that is what I want to explain to individuals, that do not run after what you don't have. I mean, do not run after, you see something and, you forget the happiness which is in your control. To be happy, you put that aside, but to get a particular object, you start running for that, and, and doing things in the process which will not be good, which will disrupt things. But having said this is what is going to happen. If I've been able to explain it, I've been careful with words. This is my view of the transit of Saturn, a planet which is a structure, order and discipline. It goes into a watery sign. Rahu, which is a planet of perception, they cross each other. The impact of Rahu's energy on Saturn. Saturn takes the energy of Rahu, moves towards Venus. So Saturn is not totally Saturn. Saturn has the energies of Rahu, move towards his Venus. Venus is the guru of Saturn. Venus then tells, okay, it's a planet that wants to enjoy life. It's all about show. It is all about love. It is all about sex. So it tells Saturn, which is the controller or the karmic controller, now has been colored by Rahu. Now, after being colored with Rahu, energy of Rahu, it means a similar planet. So when it's like a similar planet like Rahu, which is Shukra, which is which is governs the Maya. The Maya of the world is governed by Rahu. So the professor, the teacher, and the student actually, the person who's supposed to put it in right order, discipline Venus. It does not discipline Venus, it becomes a part of Venus. And thus, there will be more of shrewdness, there'll be more of technological revolution in a negative way, deceptive talks, deceptive diplomacy, finance going the wrong way. So this is all what is going to happen when Saturn meets Venus. And then when it meets Sun and Moon, the king and queen, they are basically dependent on what they are told. So this is what they are going to be told by Saturn and Venus to do, and they will act according to that. And Mercury is a planet which will keep on shifting here and there. It will keep on creating. Mercury is like Rahu. It's a small Rahu, which will keep on shifting sides, confusing you. Intellect is very good, but intellect used negatively is not good. So Mercury is not very happy in a watery sign. An intelligent person is not happy when it is scattered with too many things to do and emotions. It doesn't like it. So Mercury is also a confused planet here, which will create a lot of problems. And this together is looking at Jupiter, which is a planet again which helps to get sanity. That also gets corrupted by this particular energy, as I've tried to explain it, how this energy becomes negative. So that Jupiter controls our family, children, value systems. So that again gets disrupted. So net is maintain your structure, maintain your order, maintain discipline, be happy with what you have, and stay away from perception. Let not perception rule you and control you. That's my view and my take. Thanks. Bye for now. For any contact query, my WhatsApp mobile number is 98187 33000. And I have my YouTube channel, Instagram, etc., which you can see. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.